Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is having a great evening tonight. I kind of am. uh, got home, tried to clear out the ice at the end of the driveway, and not used to doing that much chopping, and my arms feel kind of blah, and my right hand right there between the pointer finger and the thumb right there in that web, I can't really hold much or do anything with it. I tried cutting my pork loin, and yeah, I just can't really do much with it at the moment. But we were talking, me, Jamin, Stubbs, Randy, and a few others were talking one day about bad influences. And I figured, hey, that'd be a good topic to tackle today. And, because we've all been a bad influence at some point in our lives, and we've had bad influences in our lives. I love it, Jamin. That's pretty cool. I love it. Yeah. So, but what is a bad influence? You say, well, a bad influence. Well, not me. Look at you guys doing just all those dinosaurs and hands and faces. They're cute. I love them though. I love them. You know, but a bad influence. What is a bad influence? Something or someone that teaches others to do wrong or encourages wrong actions and thoughts by example. I've been guilty of that, and I definitely have had that done um, many times in my life. You know, growing up, I've been bullied, so that is definitely someone who's a bad influence, and because you don't want to be around people who bully you, you don't want to be friends with them because then you're giving in to them, and we don't like. I don't like doing that. There's been times where I've been a bad influence. Oh, come on, let's do this, let's do that. Oh, we ain't gonna get into trouble, and next thing you know, we're in trouble. Um, did that mostly when I was a kid, sometimes in my early 20s, but now I don't do it because I don't like doing. I don't like others doing it to me. So I've been living by example for the longest time since I first got married and had kids. You know, live by example. You can't. Um, yeah, you can teach them wrong things, the wrong way to do things, but you live by example, and you don't want to be a bad influence on your kids. You want to be a positive influence and show them the right things, the good things in life, the good way to do things, and not go, well, if you do it this way, you won't get caught. No. um, yeah, and I've been told the same thing. And I've got the link out here if people want to come in and talk a little bit, maybe share an experience where you've been a bad influence or told you've been one. Um, I definitely got one. I got one, and it came from a cop too. Imagine that. And I wasn't even being a bad influence. I was leading by example. Imagine that. So, some examples of a bad influence are easily identifiable as Bad influence on us, for instance, people we used we used to drink or use drugs with, to the point of making regretful decisions leading to expensive habits, forgetful nights or blackouts, or car wrecks and criminal charges. Um, I'm guilty of making bad decisions leading to expensive habits, more or less alcohol. I used to drink when I was 20 pretty heavily until I hit 21. 6 months after I hit 21, I didn't drink that much anymore because why? The thrill of drinking and not getting caught was gone. So I just didn't drink that much anymore. And that after my dad chewed my ass out for raiding his liquor cabinet with me and a friend. I just didn't drink that much anymore. The drugs thing was, yeah, I did some pretty big drugs back. Well, not big drugs. I did some drugs back in my day, early days. I've been sober for 25 years now. So, pretty amazing feat. What happened is I grew a conscience, and you can think why I grew a conscience, but yeah, I did grew a conscience and straightened up and found that life and watching people live life through the eyes of a stoner and a druggie was more interesting. It really was. And if you look more into things, there are 7 things that lead kids down the wrong road. One is feeling unloved by their parents. That's a bad influence. One of the ways. Um, Not receiving positive attention. I did not receive a lot of a positive attention when I was growing up. I was in high school. I played basketball, and my parents never even came to any of the games. So I was pretty much on my own. They dropped me off, picked me up. Um, I did have some friends and their parents come out to watch play, so that was good. Feeling like they don't fit in. This is me all to a T here. Having friends who model bad behavior, except for that one. I had friends that didn't model bad behavior. We were the bad behavior. Having parents who model bad behavior, yeah, no. Inconsistent or overly strict parenting. I'm guilty of that. My dad was strict. I've been even stricter. All this stuff is a bad influence and can lead the kids down the wrong path. And not knowing how to cope with pressure. Kids, they just don't know how to do that, and not teaching them how to cope is a form of a bad influence and can definitely lead them to be a bad influence. You know, Oh, I'm trying to come up with some better um, bad influences, but it's not really doesn't really matter. Um, One thing, not bad influences. You say dumbass. Oh, I talk to my tablet like this all the time. But my bad influence story is sorry about that, guys. There's a cop in the town that I grew up in, about 40 minutes away from where I'm at. Well, This cop decided to enter our house illegally. Yeah. My brother told him that he couldn't enter the house and he had to wait outside because he caught my brother with a pack of cigarettes. Inside the cigarettes were a couple joints. And he brought my brother home. Brother said he can't come in the house. I got up and got halfway into the entryway of the house, and he was right there. The cop was right there. And I pulled my brother behind me, and he goes, "Go get all your drug paraphernalia." And I told him, looked at my brother, and said, "Do what you got to do." So my brother went into his bedroom, and I knew what he was going to do, just come back and say he didn't have any. And the cop tried to push his way past me. I stopped him, and I said, "You were told no, you couldn't enter this house. You illegally entered our house." And he kept trying to push. I said, "You better get out before um, my dad gets home." So he left the house. I called my dad at work and told him exactly what happened. He called the police department, talked to the police chief, and said, "If I ever see that fucker on the side of the road on his bicycle, I'm going to open up my car door and I'm going to kill the fucker." He goes, "You wouldn't do that." He goes, "You want to bet? Try me." Never saw that cop again on bothering us again. Well, that same summer, it's called River City Days. It's a big thing at the park, city park, uh, food, game stuff that we do. And the cops will bring up a cop car and let the kids go inside, sit in it. They turn on, go turn on the lights for them, hit the siren once, this, that. And a very good, close, dear friend of mine at the time had a child. And I met her up there. He was what, maybe 2, 3 years old. And I met her up there and she had him sit in the squad car. He wanted to sit in the squad car. You can't blame a kid at that age. And I saw who the cop was at the car, decided to walk away, and he goes to my friend and goes, "Is that so? Is that Rob? Is that?" She goes, "Yeah. You hang around him?" "Yes, I do. We talk and we hang out almost every single day." And he goes, you don't want, shouldn't have your kid around him. He's a bad influence." Now remember the stuff that happened before this. And she looked at him and goes, "If he's a bad influence, I pray to God he still hangs around my son as he's growing up, because he's done nothing but teach him the right things and show him the right things. That's an example of a bad influence, I want him around my child." And she grabbed her kid and walked away. Never saw this cop again. Come later to find out he beat his wife and lost his squad card to inappropriate behavior and stuff like that. So that's my story of being called a bad influence when I've been doing the right thing. And I wasn't even married at the time. You know. So yeah, that was me living by example because my friends were having kids and I wasn't having kids at the time because I was smart, because the woman I was chasing at the time had a kid, and the cop told her son that I was a bad influence. So that's my story of me being a bad influence, by the way, which I wasn't, but I was a bad influence to other people, other kids, especially in the wintertime when I'm sitting outside my house with my uncle talking to my dad and my cousin sitting in the car. I've got a snowball in the hand, car goes driving by, and I throw it and I hit the car, take off running. Not a good thing to show 'em when you're with your cousins and stuff. That's definitely a bad influence, example of a bad influence. But I stopped. I paid the price for it. Everything's good. Um, the kid's brother uh, was the older person than his younger brother. Wouldn't leave me alone after that, and I turned around and had enough. Long story short, I put my foot up his ass. He quit messing with me after that. But so there's a few examples there. You know, me and a friend used to walk around railroad tracks at night in pitch black with water balloons. You didn't hear this from me. And we would go drop them off train bridges and stuff, purposely timing to miss cars because a water balloon hits a car, it could break a windshield, it could do this, that, and cause an accident. And we weren't out to do anything like that. We were just having fun, so drop before or time it to drop after. Well, it didn't happen that way one time. Dropped one, heard a big boom. Next thing you know, cherries pop on. Yeah, I hit a SWAT car. We dropped our water balloons and took off running down the tracks. Never were caught, and there was a went to the local holiday station just down the road, and we're coming back, and this cop comes back from where we were, and I'm crossing the road, taking my time crossing, and he goes, "Yeah, I know I'm rambling," and he stops and asks me questions. Where do you live? Over there. Where over there? Down the street. What street? Oh, a street that has a name on it. What's the name? Oh, I forgot. So what house do you live in? Oh, the one down on the street. Which street? The first street you turn into in the trailer park. How far down? Oh, down the hill. Is that where you live? Yeah, that's where I live. What house number? Why do you want to know? Because I want to know where you live. Did I do anything wrong? No. Then I ain't going to tell you where I live. But I do live over there down the street. Went on for about 10, 15 minutes, and my friend thought I was going to get hauled in, but that never happened. Um, that was a cop making me be a bad influence and a smartass. Nickname there was Blondie at that time. We sent him on a couple wild goose chases. But there's a couple times where I just looked at some kids and said, "Come on, let's go do this. It'll be fun. We ain't gonna get into trouble." And well, they got into trouble, but I didn't. But I was never able to talk or hang out with them again after that. But that was back when I was a teenager, early 20s. Once I hit 25, 26, I kind of straightened my ass out and started living by example because I wanted a woman, and I wanted a decent relationship. Well, no one's going to go out with a person who's looking bad to everybody and a bully and that. You know, there's so much a bad boy image brings. You know, and I just didn't want to be that anymore. So, um, So there's a couple examples for you, but let's see. Bad influences on youth. You know, we've covered all that. Um, what are some bad influences? Well, yeah, we've touched that on too. Um, okay, so let's go to some good influences. A positive influence is someone or something that affects another person in a positive way. Gee, imagine that. Like family members who care about you and respect your choices. A bad influence won't care about your choices. They don't care or respect your choices, basically. Friends who accept you for who you are, that's a positive. Um, a bad influence, no, not so much. Another good influence are teachers and other adults who care enough about you to help you succeed. Been blessed enough with that a lot. Another good influence is a coach who shares his or her wisdom with and experience. A bad influence just doesn't care. Why would they care? Because there's nothing in it for them other than you getting in the trouble and them getting away with it. You know, a colleague who takes time to help you with your professional problems, a leader who acts in the interests of society and not for greed, an influential person who exercises their influence for the benefit of others. That's some of the positive influences that one should have in their lives. But if you got friends that are bad influences, they make you feel uncomfortable, they pressure you to do things that your parents don't agree with, um, or tease you when you don't want to do things that they want you to do. And, you know, I just sit there and go, fuck you. Yeah, Stubbs, I made it. I'm like at the 23 mark. I made it past that. So, what is a bad friend? Overly competitive with you, unlikely to encourage your likely to encourage your bad behaviors, unreliable, is combative, they're rude, mean or degrading, uh, they like to gossip, and they like to bully. Definitely bad influences. Um, So, but just remember, you could be 53 days from being a bad influence. Didn't think about that, did you? I could just look up more and more and more things about bad influences, and it just um, doesn't really matter, does it? Because we've all been there. We did it, done it, gonna do it again. So, if you think about being a bad influence, think about it this way: what are you trying to prove? Are you hot dogging? Are you trying to show off? Because you're definitely not going to be leading by example. You know, um, I say lead by example, be the good person. There's a lot of kids out there that are looking for a role model. Be that role model. Don't be a total dickwad and lead them down the wrong path, which is going to ultimately end up to jail or maybe prison because they didn't have a good teacher or a good role model. You know, so be a good person. Don't be the bad influence. Live by example, plain and simple. So that's pretty much my show for tonight. Wife wants to get to bed early because we she needs to get up a little bit early. So with that, I'm going to say, I got 53 days stickers. They're big enough to put on your helmet or in the windshield of your motorcycle. They're not too overly big. You can put them on your um, back window and stuff. Perfect for showing off. But I've found that only a few of us know about 53 days. Well, ask me about it sometime and I'll tell you. Right? I ain't going to go into that right now. But but they're on sale. You can get one of them for $3, two for $5, or I'll give you three for $9. I'll do it that way. And everything that gets brought in, once the debt gets paid off, everything that would be a profit is going to charity. It could be the Legacy Scholarship Fund. It could be Wounded Warrior. It could be a number of things. Um, I'm not trying to make a profit for myself. Everything's going to go to charity. Could go for a person who's gotten on in a motorcycle accident that could use a little help, stuff like that. And you know, if you want to, there's my information for Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. Like I said, two for $5, one for $3, two for $5, three for $9. I'll do that for everybody who wants one. There's my payment information: PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. You can also get a hold of me on Discord with the unaffiliated and a few other Discord applications. That's where I'm at. Or you can instant message me on Facebook, or email me, which is the email for my PayPal, our Benjamin_40 at hotmail.com. So with that, I say y'all have a good night. Don't be the bad influence, be the good influence, be the positive. And remember, you're always, or could be, 53 days from being a bad influence. But you're also 53 days from being one hell of a positive influence. Y'all have a good night. I thank y'all for coming out, catching my show. If you want to share me, like me, subscribe, that would be great. You don't have to, but if you want to, great. I'll catch y'all later. Keep the sunny side up and the rubber side down, especially on the ice. Take care.